What's going on, guys? It's Kyle again with DTOM Knives and Gear, and I am so excited to bring this guy to you. This is the Midgards-Messer Viking knife. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. All right, today is the day we're going to do a quick review of this big bad boy right here. This is the Midgards-Messer Viking. Midgard is a company out of Germany, a company that is kind of different than most of your like custom knife makers. They are like an OEM. You give them a concept and they have CAD capabilities, water jet, everything you could think of to build a knife they can do. And so that's what they're usually focused on. Now, this knife is theirs, though. This is the Midgards-Messer Viking, and so this was their first attempt of a folder for their own design, and man, is it cool. This thing is just one big, beautiful beast of a...
He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Of a knife. If you are a fan of the channel or have seen this channel before, you know I like big knives. This is about as big as you're gonna get. I absolutely love it. I first saw this knife on the Apex Pass Around group, and that is who sent this knife over, the Apex Pass Around group, courtesy of Kyle Lamphere. However, I have recently made a deal with him, and now this big, beautiful beast is mine, and I could not be happier. This is definitely a Kyle knife. Kyle Lamphere and Kyle me. Because we both love the big guys. He's a huge 6'8" ginger beast of a man. And of course he loved this knife, and I do too. Holy crap. As you can see here, this one is a limited edition. They only made 2 of these, and this one is Lucky 13. And I could not be happier. I absolutely love this blade. Now, a lot of you are out there looking at like, why in the world would you ever want something like this? Well, what is this knife made for? Well, this knife, I believe, was made by Midgard to kind of, show off, see what they're capable of. These guys do one hell of a job on everything that they've done. Go check their website out. I'll put it down below. They are a German company. So they have a website, but, a lot of it's in English, so you can kind of read through it. Really cool, folks. And yeah, they hit it out of the park on their first folding model. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. Now, of course, this is a big knife, so it's not your EDC carry. If you clicked on this video and saw a picture of this knife and you're expecting EDC carry, I don't know why, because it's not. This is definitely a collectible knife, but it can be used absolutely as a hard-use folder. This thing is built like a tank. It is a titanium frame lock with a CPM D2 blade. CPM D2 blade, not D2 like you see in your Civivis and your budget knives that have a lot of D2. This is CPM D2, the powder metallurgy. Anyway, I'm going to go all in that, but this is totally different than the C or the D2 that you see on most of the budget knives. This is CPM, very, very good steel. You have makers like Medford and a lot of makers use CPM D2. It's a very, very good steel. This thing, well, let's just say I can't hardly even keep it in frame. This is an ergonomic dream for my hand. I have very big hands, and this thing, I have plenty of room to work around. Look at this. You guys know I like to choke up on my knives. It does have this finger choil to allow me to choke up. Such an ergonomic wonderland. And look at this. Oh, you get past that detent and it falls shut like any other knife. Now that's due to bearings and to the absolute beast of a blade that you get with this knife. Oh, you can see this very long, big old pocket clip. Now this is a very heavy knife. We'll go over all that in a little bit. So this big heavy pocket clip does keep it in your pants and actually carries quite well. I know people are going to be like, there's no way, but I loved having this in the pocket. It's heavy, it's big, but I like that. That's why I wanted this, is because that kind of stuff tickles my fancy. Boom. But this actual pocket clip was made so you can actually loop it in your belt and carry it outside the waistband. Like, what? Yeah, I don't do that. But I do carry it in my pocket, and it works just fine. Just so we can show you, there is their awesome, awesome logo. As you can see, the Midgards family, Midgards-Messer, and then I am still not sure what this symbol is. I encourage you to go and contact Kyle Lamphere. That man knows so much about the Viking culture, religion, all that stuff. He's somewhat of an academic when it comes to that. So if you have any questions about what all this stuff means, I highly recommend that you go hit him up on Instagram. I will have that linked down below because he knows a lot more about it than I do. As you see, this big, massive titanium backspacer with these jimps, gear pattern, whatever you want to call it. The jimping on the blade is perfect for the ergonomics of the knife to sit right there. Golly, I love this. It is wonderful. Now, of course, this blade shape is unique. You have a flat grind that comes up probably 45% or something with a big, huge fuller that I use to flip the knife out with my middle finger. And then you also have another grind here out to the tip. This thing is definitely not a piercer. You could even use it if you're up shit creek without a paddle and you got this in your pocket. Yep, this will do the job. I can't take credit for that. Buddy of mine, Mr. Davo at work, actually said that when I showed him this piece, and I was like, that's pretty funny. It's pretty accurate, though. But don't let this thing fool you. It's like, oh my gosh, it's nothing but a big piece of metal. It can't cut. Now, with this grind and big tall blade, it only comes down to about 30 thousandths behind the edge, which is relatively thick for most knives, especially for like an EDC carry. But does that mean this thing is not sharp? That is a negative. This thing is super sharp and it will cut. And it cuts very, very well. Very impressed with the performance of this guy. I love it. Absolutely love it. Now, it's big, it's badass. It just screams me all over. Wonderful frag pattern. Does not continue that on the back side, but I am okay with it. I'm really in love with the pocket clip. Definitely, it still has a lanyard hole for you guys who like lanyards. Still, lock bar insert with over travel stop. So all the good stuff that I like to see in a knife. Let's see some size comparisons. Okay, so this is the fun part. Size comparisons. Well, I like big knives. There's some of my bigger knives that I don't have with me right now because they're loaned out to my good friends for them to review, but I have a few. So when you think big knives, what do you think of? Well, let's, cold steel, right? Let's put it up against the Cold Steel 8010. 8010's a big old boy, but the Viking's got it. The Viking definitely has it by length and width and everything, so it makes the 8010 look small, and as you know, it is not. What about, let's see, what about one of my other bigger knives? What about the XM24? This is, of course, the vintage model, and as you can see, lengthwise, pretty close, but obviously a lot thicker. But yeah, we're getting a little bit closer as far as the overall length. What about my SMF? I love this knife. This knife is a big, beautiful beast as well, but pales in comparison to this guy. Two different knives for two different purposes. I get it. But as far as looking at these back to back, you would think that this looks like a PT versus the SMF next to the Viking. See, one other knife that I absolutely love that you probably have seen on the channel in a while, ever since the review. This is the Kaiser Sheepdog XL. So this thing has got to be bigger than the Midgard, right? It's close. Definitely a good size comparison for this knife. I think we've got a little bit more length on the Midgard. Obviously, a better made knife because it was made by, this is basically a custom knife. They only made 2 of these from a very, very prestigious group in Germany. So definitely a lot better made, but size-wise, it's pretty damn close. The only knife, ladies and gentlemen, that I have that will actually not look tiny or at least not comparable to this is the Cold Steel 4MAX. So you knew it had to be a Cold Steel. The Cold Steel 4MAX is actually longer than this Viking. Wow. So I have not done the full review of the Cold Steel 4MAX. Please looking for that because it's coming out. This is a big, beautiful beast just like that. But as you can see, the Midgard is huge. So what are we looking at? We're looking at about 9.65 inches across. Yeah. We're looking at a 4.13 inch blade. It folded is about 5.5 inches. The blade thickness is about 235 is what I got, 235 thousandths thick. So it is definitely a big chunk of CPM D2 steel. And like I said, about 30 thousandths behind the edge. Just a big, beautiful beast. Now, the work that they've done, okay, all of these areas rounded beautifully, no sharp edges. You got a little bit sharp, back here where the jimping is and where, you want it to be a little bit, but it's not like painfully sharp or cut you sharp at all. Everything is chamfered. Everything is beautifully rounded right here where your fingers go to just add to a wonderful, wonderful grip. I mean, obviously, the reverse grip on this guy is just as comfortable as the other grips. Love this knife. Now, like I said, the action on this just drops shut. Once you get past that detent, it just falls. Such a wonderful, wonderful action on these bearings. And I got to be honest, I love fidgeting with my knives. So this one does not have a thumb stud, does not have a flipper, does not have a hole. It just has this fuller. And I'm pretty sure that they intended the knife to be opened up with 2 hands. But that does not mean that you can't use your forward finger to, of course, I'm going to fail at it, to flick that guy open with a little bit of wrist. And then, of course, my middle, of course, underneath the camera. But I can do this all day with the middle finger, just flicking it out like that. That is how I prefer to open it. It works wonderfully. It makes a good little ka-thunk, sound that makes me happy. I absolutely love it. Let's get back to the pocket clip before we do the weight, shall we? Let's go ahead and get some of this right here. All right. So this is how it's going to carry in your pocket. If I can get it on there. That's what it's going to look like out of your pocket. So yeah, it's not going to carry deep. There's a lot of knife sticking out there. But I don't care. I love this knife. And I don't care if it's sticking out of my pocket. People are going to be like, what the heck is that? And I like that. I am not trying to be discreet when I carry a knife. And especially if I'm carrying this knife, I want people to ask me about it. So, yep, there it is. People are talking about it. So, another thing about this knife that a lot of people are going to ask, because it is full titanium, not milled out with that huge blade. What does this thing weigh? Well, I know what the site says. Let's just go ahead and put it on our scale, shall we? We'll compare it to some of the other knives that we've looked at. It's definitely not a light one. Now, the website says 11.923. This is not far off, but this is a pound of knife. This is a pound of knife in your pocket, and I know that's going to drive a lot of people crazy. But not me. Now, I really wish I had my Medford here to kind of compare to this. I've got it also lent to a buddy. Definitely go check out Mr. Knives Fast because that man is just killing it over there. And so, yeah, definitely go check him out. All right, so we're about 0.0. Yeah, so we probably need to zero this back out. So it might have been just a tad bit off. But okay, so over a pound of knife. Let's see what the 4MAX weighs, because it's not light at all, but it's still 2 ounces lighter than this bag boy. So, all right, let's do the Kaiser Sheepdog. Yeah, all right, even less. So what about the 8010? So we're just kind of going down and down. This one definitely takes a cake for my most heaviest knife in the pocket. So yeah, that's a thing, and I love that thing. That thing makes me happy. Oh, so I don't really know what else to say about this knife other than the fact that I am so very happy to have this in my collection. Yeah, it's one of the knives that whenever I open up my knife case, I cannot not play with this knife. I'll open it up, get a knife out, look at that thing, get it out and play with it, and then of course I'll put it back. This one is a Corsa limited edition, 13 out of 200, so I don't plan on going out and beating the hell out of this thing, but I did use it. It cuts well, and will probably continue to do that, just light tasks. I want this thing in my pocket just so I can bust it out and be like, yeah, it's my knife. Hey, you got a problem? It's my knife. Now, I know that there are some places in this country of ours where the fear-based legislation will not allow you to carry a knife with a blade like this. I get it. I suggest you move and find a state that likes freedom. So that's a thing. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you stopping by and checking this out with me. This is actually still going to be going to, I think, the last person that was in the Apex Pass Around group, Big Bore Knife and Gear, which is my bestest buddy in the whole wide world. Going to be sending this to him to check out before it comes back to me. And yeah, so I love everybody in this Apex Pass Around group. You guys are so awesome. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of it. Definitely go check out Mr. Kyle Lamphere, especially if you want to know more about the Viking culture. The guy is he just knows what he's talking about. Go check out Midgard, the Midgard family and their website. I'll have it linked down below. They do some really cool stuff. I love you all. You guys are great. Thank you for everything. Hit that subscribe button, notification bell. If you want to see more, stay safe in this crazy world that we're living in, and we will see you in the next one.